All right, this is the opening of Monday, September 13th, Norton Conservation Commission meeting, beginning slightly after 6:30. My clock on the computer says 6:35. We have commission members, myself, Julian Kadish, Ron O'Reilly, Lisa Carrozza, Gene Blood, Dan Pearson, Dan Doyle participating, and Megan Whitman, our assistant, is also in the meeting. And Carrie, I think I overlooked you when I was reading the numbers, reading the members, Carrie Ann Snyder. And as has been the case with all of these Zoom meetings, we need to begin by reading the preamble with regard to the necessity to operate under Zoom conditions. So Dan Pearson.
Okay.
Why don't you go ahead with it?
Pursuant to Governor Baker's March 12, 2020 order suspending certain provisions of the open meeting law, GL Chapter 30A, Section 18, and the Governor's March 15, 2020 order imposing strict limitation on the number of people that may gather in one place, this meeting of the Norton Conservation Commission will be conducted via remote participation to the greatest extent possible. Specific information and the general guidelines for remote participation by members of the public and or parties with a right and or requirement to attend this meeting can be found at the end of this agenda. Members of the public attending this public hearing / meeting virtually will be able to make comments if they wish to do so during the portion of the hearing designated for public comment by raising their hand virtually or pressing *6 if participating by phone. No in-person attendance of members of the public will be permitted, but every effort will be made to ensure that the public can adequately access the proceedings in real time via technical means. In the event that we are unable to do so, despite efforts, we will post on the Norton Cable website, www.nortonmediacenter.org, an audio or video recording, transcript, or other comprehensive record of proceedings as soon as possible after the meeting.
All right, thank you, Dan. So first item on the agenda is a continuation of determination of applicability, determination number 1115. Hutchins Trowbridge is the applicant. It concerns 72 Reservoir Street. I am the owner of that parcel, and as such, will step down as chair and turn over the hearing to vice chair. And comments that I'm about to make will be as the owner of the project. So go ahead, Lisa.
Okay, we had a continuation from the 8/30/2021 meeting, and I think we were waiting for the construction method to be confirmed, whether it was going to be cut and cover or HDD.
It's going to be directional drilling. We have been speaking to 4 firms. One couldn't take it. The other 2 have provided bids. We're waiting for the 3rd bid. And I believe the information that the commission wanted to see on the plan is the entry site and then the 2 exit sites. We don't have the plan up, but they will be put on the plan, and we can discuss next meeting. The directional drilling appears to markedly reduce the potential for impact because it doesn't have a huge open trench. So that's what the update will be, and I'm requesting a continuance until the 27th of September.
Okay, I need a motion.
Madam Chairman, I move that we continue the public hearing on DET file number 1115 to the 9/27/21.
Second.
Okay, I have a motion made by Dan Pearson, seconded by Dan Doyle. All those in favor? Carrie?
Aye.
Okay, Dan, was an aye.
Aye.
Dan Doyle, Ron? I'll take that as an aye.
Aye.
And Jean?
Aye.
Okay, so the motion carries, so file 1115 is continued to 9/27.
All right, I am now back concerning the next hearing, which is notice of intent file number 250-1082 for Jeffrey O'Neill, 0 Leonard Street. This is continued from our last hearing, August 30th. And as I understand it, Lisa, you will need to recuse from this.
Yes, that's correct. If there's a vote, I'll abstain. If they're going to do a presentation, I'll accuse. So
There, at our last hearing on this, we needed to hire someone to review, I believe it's predominantly stormwater management, and that consultant has been hired. But we have no new information. So the request of the applicant was for a continuation of this hearing till 9/27/21. So we can, unless there are any further questions or comments, we can consider a motion for the continuation.
I'll make the motion. We continue DEP file number 250-1082 to the September 27th meeting.
Second.
All right, we have a motion made by Dan Doyle and seconded by Dan Pearson. Just want to clarify, I did review the participants list, and there were no requests for asking questions. So we're going to do a roll call vote. We'll start with Ron and Carrie.
Aye.
aye.
And Jean and Dan Pearson.
Aye.
And Dan Doyle.
Aye.
And I'll throw in an aye. So, and Lisa abstains. So we are now on abbreviated notice of intent, file number 250-1081 for DeSuco AZA Realty Trust concerning 0 Barrow Street. This was an abbreviated notice of area delineation. Again, a peer review. A person was requested to be involved with confirming the wetland boundaries. They have been out to the site, but that has they have not provided us with a amended plan, and they're requesting a continuation until September 27th. So unless there are questions from the board or anyone else, we can consider that motion.
Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion to continue DEP file 250-1081 to the September 27th meeting of the Conservation Commission.
Second.
We have a motion made by Dan Pearson, seconded by Lisa. So we're going to do a roll call vote, starting with Lisa and Ron.
Aye.
And I saw Ron give an aye, and Carrie and Jean.
Aye.
Aye. And the 2 Dans.
Aye.
All right, and I'll throw in an aye, so the motion carries. Item D is an abbreviated notice of resource area delineation, file number 250-1080 for Marcia Godfrey, 301 South Worcester Street. And here again, peer review was required for delineation of wetland boundary, and the inspection apparently occurred, but again, this has not been finalized. So they are requesting a continuation until September 27th.
Mr. I'll move to continue DE file 250-1080 to the September 27th meeting of the Conservation Commission.
I'll second that.
Motion made by Dan Pearson, seconded by Dan Doyle. Roll call vote, beginning with Lisa and Ron.
Aye.
And Ron indicates an aye, and Carrie and Jean.
Aye.
Aye. And Dan Pearson and Dan Doyle.
Aye.
Aye.
And I'll throw in an aye, the motion carries. Next item is, has been on our agenda for a long time without any new information. So the question is whether we close this for lack of information. My concern is that the owner of the project, which is the Bernie and Phil's warehouse, is using this process basically to avoid resolving an issue. Maybe others can raise any concerns or have their own interpretation.
I just wanted to confirm, I didn't see anything, but nothing came through today or like Friday after this agenda was made on that file number, right?
Not that I am
No.
aware.
Okay.
Lisa, you're muted.
Yep, I don't think they've been in contact for maybe close to a year now. Does anybody remember when the?
No, I agree. And, that's why, I mean, they have, as I understand it, I don't think it's a violation, but it was an issue that needed to be resolved. And this notice of intent was opened with the idea that it would be resolved, but they are apparently not interested in proceeding.
Right, so they haven't put forth any new information to the file.
No,
It was opened when, April 29th,
In 2019.
Well, actually, it was continued to that, so it was opened even prior to that, so let's say the beginning of April. Neither the applicant nor the owner has communicated with us that they intend to prepare or submit any additional information, nor have they asked for a continuance. So I would like to make a motion that we close the public hearing for file 250-1040.
I'll second that.
All right, just for clarification, we're going to be closing it in the context of inadequate information, and therefore the project as presented will require a denial.
Well, we can close it. I'm not quite sure how we're going to deal with the issuance of the order, but we will have to consult with the agent.
So to clarify, that we have a motion made by Lisa and seconded by Dan Doyle. So we'll do a roll call vote. Lisa and Ron, how do you vote?
Aye.
Aye.
And Carrie and Jean.
aye.
And Dan Doyle.
Aye.
Dan Pearson.
Aye.
All right, and I'll throw in an aye. So the motion carries to close the public hearing process for file number 250-1040 in the context of no information coming forth from the applicant. And the motion carries. So next on our agenda, we do not have any orders of conditions or orders of resource area delineation before us tonight, and nor any requests for partial or full certificates of compliance. We do have, I believe, 4 sets of minutes in draft form to review. The first set is Monday, July 26th, regular meeting. I went through those. I didn't find anything concerning. Anybody else have any comments on that?
Hold on. Okay, so I just, it's more of a procedural thing, and I'm seeing this happening with the minutes, so I'm not quite sure why we're listing the documents here. It's unnecessary. That goes into the order of conditions. It absolutely doesn't need to be listed in the meeting minutes.
All right.
So, I think, so the biggest issue I have is what we're not documenting here is we have a series of continuances, but we're not saying why.
All right. I mean, I agree. We don't need to reproduce the list of documents, but we do need to specify what might have been outstanding and the reason for continuation.
Right. So I think we need to go back for the July 26th meeting minutes. I think we need to do the same thing for the executive session minutes for the, I think it applies to all of them.
Well, executive session minutes, these are not, in fact, as I said in the last meeting, these are not the minutes that I passed in the executive session. The minutes on the executive session were very detailed, and I can send them to you again. And I did give more detailed minutes and on the regular meeting, and that might be what comments are.
So you're saying perhaps an error. The version we see here is not the final version that you completed.
Well, it's certainly not the final version of the executive minutes. It might be I don't know whether my minutes were taken up by Megan or for the regular session. Weren't all that detailed on my behalf.
Let me just raise this as an issue. The actual transcript, the recording of this meeting is going to be available indefinitely. Is that my understanding? Is that correct?
I don't know the answer to that, but we're missing key pieces of information here as to, we were at the very beginning when Jennifer had us all take a roll, and she always asked, Dan Doyle or somebody to keep a running list of, what they owed us, why we're keeping this file open. It's critically important for the record. That's what's missing here.
I guess my hesitation is some of these are specified as to what the outcome was, like the fact that we needed plans revisions on item C, for example, Ferrari pools, because that I thought, that one was continued.
So everything that was continued needs a reason, and I don't see that anywhere. So
okay, let me.
I think we need to table these and have a discussion with Jennifer, because I'm just not seeing that this cuts it for the public record.
Well, in item C, plan revisions and applications. All right, perhaps just a one-liner as to what we expected for the next meeting.
Right, so what would be more beneficial, instead of a list of documents, which we don't need, is here's what we're looking for. Here's what they owe us at the next hearing. Here's the information we requested that we expected. That's what the bulleted list should be, instead of the list of documents. So, Anyway, I noticed that on the July 26th, I guess we'll take them one at a time. But I think we should table the July 26th for starters.
All right, well, some of these, okay. All right, it's just that there's not, I think, a lot of information missing, but that's fine. And do we need a motion for that, or we'll just?
No, I think we just need to table it and take it up at the next meeting. Just, Megan, if you can add that to the agenda, please, for the next meeting.
And Dan Pearson, will you be able to just address those? I think it's only.
I will resend the executive session minutes that I have before, but maybe I only sent those to Jen or I don't know, but I will resend them to everyone in the commission tonight. And I will see if there is a tape of the regular session.
Okay.
Okay.
So we're tabling both July 26th regular and executive session.
Yep.
Okay. All right, and that brings us to Monday, August 16th. I mean, the first one, there is a motion to close.
Yep.
Apparently everything is all set. The second one, also motion to close. The third one was continued.
But that's okay because it mentions the peer review. So that's the outstanding item, right? So that's
All
good.
right. And then the fourth one is Eddy Street. I think that one that's pretty detailed.
Yep.
Claire Lynch, I think, is closed. Yes, motion to close. Ferrari Pools, that one got closed. And then the AZ Corporation was also closed. So, and then of course we come to the one that we closed tonight for lack of information. So I think this is complete.
So I'll make a motion to approve the meeting minutes from Monday, August 16th, 2021.
Motion made by Lisa and seconded by?
A second.
Seconded by Carrie. Roll call vote, Lisa and Ron. How do you vote?
Aye.
And I saw an aye from Ron, and then Carrie and Jean.
Aye.
Jean abstains, he was absent.
Oh, yes. Agreed. Dan Pearson and Dan Doyle.
Aye.
All right, the motion carries. I'll throw in an aye. The motion carries. And now we have minutes of August 30th. And again, item one is the hearing for my property. I think
Yeah, I think this one was fine as well. So I'll make a motion to approve the meeting minutes, August 30th, 2021.
motion made by Lisa, seconded by?
I'll second.
Second by Jean. Again, Lisa and Ron, how do you vote? I think I see an aye from Ron, and Lisa, you said an aye?
Yes, aye.
Okay, and then Carrie and, Carrie, you were absent, so you're going to
I'm
abstain.
going to abstain, yes. Thank you.
And Jean and Dan Pearson?
Aye.
And Dan Doyle?
Aye.
And I'll throw in an aye, so that motion carries.
So Megan, you just want, excuse me, Julie, you want to put the 7/26/21 regular meeting and the 7/26/21 executive session on the next agenda, please?
Okay, no problem. Do you
Thank you.
want me to take out the document lists from those ones or just leave them as is for now and going forward, no document list?
In the 26, if the 26 is already done, that's fine. We just need to insert the reasons why it was continued. So,
Okay.
but moving forward, yes, you can just delete that. You don't need to include the list.
Perfect, okay.
Thank you.
All right, I think we had now come to, we do have representatives, I believe, that want to open a discussion. With regard to, I can't remember it's a Pine Street. Let's see if it's.
I think the first one is
Oh, yes.
Woodland Green, Steve
Yes,
Bishop.
Woodland Green, that's
Yeah.
correct. And Steve, I see Steve Bishop is here. So, Steve, maybe you can give us any additional information. I do have the printouts that were submitted concerning the copper, the algae defense, which is a copper product. But then you also had an herbicide, which I personally couldn't really assess. So I guess our question, I mean, these are commercial products,
Yep.
which come with specific application instructions. So I guess the commission would be concerned that they're going to be applied in a safe manner. So maybe you can comment on that.
Yes, I agree. We're not too sure exactly how we're going to do the application. We've talked to some of the board members here, and a spray type of application, which I don't think is going to work because that's going to take forever. I mean, so we're still researching exactly what the application is. We just wanted to make sure we had the best stuff that's less obviously impact at all to the pond itself. We just wanted to clean it up as it's a detention center, really. It's a retention pond. I guess it was built, I don't know if you're familiar with it, but it's like a retention pond that was built 15 years ago, 16 years ago when this development was built. Anyways, to make a long story short, it's kind of overrun with cattails, and now it's out. Now we have a lot of algae, which has been the worst problem since we have a fountain that helps things a little bit, but it gets so clogged up now it's not even worth turning it on.
So
Continually fighting that problem.
does it have permanent standing water in it?
Yes, it does. Yep. We actually have a well that feeds it. So when it gets too dry,
I see.
that's what I was told. Yep.
So is this, I don't even know where the heck this basin is, but was it something that was constructed and accepted by the town as part of a subdivision?
Yeah, correct. Yes, it was. Well, I'm gonna, please don't, I haven't researched it on it back that far. If it's, I'm assuming it has been, accepted and all that, but they wouldn't be able to build, I'm assuming, that would be, I know, a lot of the people that I talked to, I've only been here a couple of years, they've researched these products, and, I just thought it would be an idea to run by you guys to see what you either thought of the product or you had another product that would be better for our application. Kind of green at this, so we just want to do it right.
Well, we need to establish ownership of this detention basin, I guess.
Well, we are, and we actually have a contract that's written that it's supposed to be cleaned periodically. I think every other year, the inlets and outlets are going to be cleaned. So you can get better flow and everything like that, and that's another situation that we have as well. I don't think the water's flowing very well, which I think is causing a problem.
And that contract is with the town or?
No, we have a private contract.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
So it sounds like this is privately maintained. It is not owned and operated and maintained by the town.
Correct, correct. I'm speaking on behalf of the board, here. I'm sorry. I should have
Okay.
said that outright. Yeah, I'm sorry. It has nothing to do with the town.
I was like, why
This is all
isn't he
private.
doing this?
This is all private, yes.
Okay,
Sorry. Sorry for the
okay,
confusion. Yep.
okay. Whew. Yeah, this one I would have to defer to our agent.
And this product, was recommended by a guy that had, a pond not this size. And he says it worked well and it was accepted. But I just, you do anything with a pond or something like this, and I would rather have the blessing than not, so.
But the pond is not the pond's not a wetland, right? It's a stormwater management feature that was built in an upland, we presume, because it was only
Yep.
15 years ago.
Correct.
So the pond itself is not jurisdictional.
Yeah, I don't, as far as I know, yes. So I know Jen's familiar with the property because she's been here. I wasn't here when she was here, so she's very familiar with it, and,
Okay, so hopefully she can weigh in. She's there.
Yep. Okay.
Miss Jennifer?
Well, it's still not,
She's not with us
Oh,
until
she's not, it's
7:30.
only 7.
yeah,
Okay,
it's
Sorry.
not till after 7:30, but, so, I mean, I think we need her advice as to whether a notice of intent process is required
That's what we're looking for. Yep.
or not, and the only other issue is, it's gotta be applied in a manner that is consistent with the instructions on the product.
We agree.
And,
Yep.
and, so if it's all right with you, or whatever, we kind of need to run this by Jennifer
Of course.
and get the nod that this can be done privately without either a notice of intent or a request for determination.
Okay.
So,
That's right.
Megan, maybe we can just make that as a note to Jen, just to give us an opinion as to what the right process is.
Okay.
All right, so, Steve, we will be back in touch.
Okay. I appreciate your time. Thank you so much.
All right, very good, thank you. Our next item on the agenda is an informal discussion regarding a potential cluster development project on Pine Street. I believe we do have a representative, Mark Manganello.
Yes, hello, good evening.
Now, we need to try to bring up the plans. Do you have the plans on your computer?
I do.
We can make you a co-host to share.
All right, Mark, you should be all set to share your screen.
All right.
Yes.
Can you see that?
We can.
Yes.
Okay. So I have, I'm Mark Manganello with LEC Environmental Consultants. We are the environmental consultant on this project. This property is on Pine Street. Some of you may recall that we recently came before the commission with an ANRAD for the wetland boundaries in this property. So the wetland boundaries have been approved out here. You can see them pretty clearly along with buffer zones on this plan. The blue areas are, the hatched blue areas are vernal pools on the property. So there's quite a bit of wetland resource area on the property. There are two versions. So this is the first version that we initially had started to design. The The lots you can see extend relatively close to some of the vernal pools in the central portion of the property here. And there's no direct wetland impacts with this, so this would basically be a buffer zone project. But in speaking with Jennifer Carlino about this layout, she suggested we look into an alternative layout that would utilize this easterly corner of the property, which is reflected in this alternative. So this alternative eliminates the activity that went up into the central portion of the property, kind of close in between these vernal pools. And instead, there's a wetland crossing along the property line here to access this upland area where you can see lots 16 through 22. We've taken a look at the wetland crossing and believe it would be less than 5,000 square feet, so there's no major concern there. But, you know, because one alternative has no wetland direct wetland impacts and the other does, we wanted to run this by the commission and make sure that you generally agreed with the logic of this alternative that involves a wetland crossing before we started to spend a lot of time and money on engineering the project. So that's kind of the overview of it, and the engineer, Bob Forbes, is also on this call, so he can jump in and answer any questions you might have.
So,
Yeah, go ahead.
who, is it a common owner to the west of this lot? Is it one? I'm sorry, I can't see that. There's a property next to lot 1 and 2 on the road to the south? Yeah, that parcel right there. Is that owned by the same entity?
I don't know. Bob may know the answer to that.
That is not. That is owned by somebody else.
Okay. Is there a house on that lot now?
Yes, I believe there is.
Okay. I mean, my personal reaction is, I think you'd certainly have indirect impacts to 4 or 5 vernal pools between you know, people converting their habitat to lawn, the potential use of pesticides and herbicides by homeowners, because there's, you know, once it leaves us, there's no control, right? So, I guess that's why I look at this and say it's probably a best bet to cross that area. Is that a stream or is it just a wetland?
Just a wetland, no stream.
So you don't even have to invoke limited project status because you're under the 5,000.
Correct.
Okay. I mean, that's my gut reaction is that I would rather see a stream, I mean, you know, a wetland crossing than the potential indirect impact of 5 vernal pools. Where the crossing is, though, how much room does that leave you on those 2 lots? I'm sorry, it's just, I can't see which lot numbers those are.
Oh, 6 and
Yeah,
what, the one on the other side of it?
yeah, I mean,
Bob could probably answer that better than me, but these are still, even though this is a cluster development, these are still 40,000 square foot lots, so that space might look tight, but there's actually quite a bit of square footage there. Bob, is that accurate the way you laid it out?
Exactly right. Yeah, Mark, that's an excellent point. These, due to the cluster provisions in town, this is 80,000 square foot zoning, and we're allowed to reduce to 40,000 for this. So it's still, each one of these lots is over an acre. And we did actually go through the process of placing a house and a driveway on each one just to make sure we had enough room. And they surprisingly barely even show up on the plan when you see it, because a reasonable sized house is so small compared to the lot size. So yes, there is enough room available. Now there would be some buffer zone impact on those lots, but we try to, as you can see, as we get back into that upland portion and the back portion of that lot around the cul-de-sac, we tried to get as many of the lots so they would have 0 impact whatsoever. That green line on Mark's plan that he's showing is the 100-foot buffer zone, just so you know.
so, and I assume you took into account, grading, topography, and stormwater management?
To some degree, yes.
Yeah.
We have conceptually, we have a plan. Of course, when this is going to be such a detailed design that when we go to the full design, there may be some minor changes to some of the lots to
Sure.
decrease impact or whatnot. But the main concern was when we talked to Jennifer about this, we did not disagree with her. We believe that this is probably the better option, but that's certainly up to your commission. It's an odd situation because it's the option that has more wetland impact. We had none before, and this one will have some wetland impact.
But I guess it's the value of that wetland. So Mark, can you opine on the value of that wetland? I mean, so now you're talking about functions and values, and I would think that, again, potential indirect impacts to 5 vernal pools has to be more, detrimental than the impacts to a wetland less than 5,000. But I mean, I guess
No, we agree with that. I agree with that. The rub is that the Wetlands Protection Act doesn't really use the language you just used, unfortunately.
right, it's more the core, but
Yeah, and there's no such thing as direct versus indirect. It's a buffer zone project or not, and
right.
I agree with you that scientifically, at least, clearly the option of crossing the wetland is less disturbing to the ecological function of the wetlands out there.
So
Can you just put the other plan back up for a moment?
So that wetland, I assume, continues, so you're gonna have equalizer pipes or something under there, Bob?
Absolutely, yeah. They're more than likely to be some type of culvert under there. So we would do calculations to determine what to size that correctly.
Okay.
Yeah, and just to comment on this plan, I mean, we were concerned a little bit about the buffer zone impact. I mean, this has buffer zone impact all over, and it even intrudes into the lots that butt up against a couple of the vernal pools. So this kind of has, if it can be avoided, an awful lot of impact that is not present on the other plan. So I'm going to voice that I favor the other plan.
So what's the delta so if you were to keep the layout on the right and not cross the wetland, right? So, and if you go to the other plan and use the other one, what's the delta? How many lots do you lose?
I think.
Does it be,
I'm
do
sorry.
you know what I'm saying?
Yes, it's approximately 8. It's approximately 8 lots.
Okay.
Yeah, it would be those.
So, but here's another thing to consider. If potentially when you lay out the stormwater and the grading in between everything else, is this on sewer?
It is not. These are all going to be private septic systems.
Okay. So at some point, do you weigh, we're going to lose 8 lots anyway, right? Between grading, offsets, whatever. Would you ever consider, revisiting it once you get to that point to say, you know what, we're going to lose 8 lots anyway. So let's go with the cluster we'll split the clustering, right? This one on the left, and on the right, we're going to go with the other one.
I understand exactly what you're saying. Now, we have looked into it enough. We have done enough soil exploration out here, soil investigation, where we do have really good soils out here. Surprisingly, with all the wetlands, we have very good soils out here.
Okay.
So I absolutely, answer to that, in theory, absolutely. That's a very astute point, and that would be the case. But we don't feel like we're going to lose. We may lose 1 or 2, but we don't feel like we're going to. So it's probably going to be this number.
Okay.
All right. Any further comments from commission members? And I'm just going to bring up the participants list. I don't think we have any questions, other questions. So So I guess you have kind of heard the tone of the commission as to what we favor. You're happy with that?
Yeah, thank you very much, because this is, as Mark mentioned, this would be quite a burden if we had done this and brought it to you fully designed and it was not the way that the commission wished us to go. So we really appreciate your time and input on this, because we agree with you completely on this one.
All right. So if that wraps it up, we can say thank you for coming before us tonight.
Thank you very much for
Thank
that.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, very good. So we have come to the end of our agenda of our regular meeting. We do have an executive session scheduled. We are now going to be closing our regular meeting and not returning. So we will now entertain a motion to close our regular meeting for Monday, September 13th.
I'll make a motion to close the regular meeting.
Second.
So we have a motion made by Dan Pearson, seconded by Ron. Roll call vote. Dan Pearson and Ron, how do you vote?
Aye.
And Carrie and Lisa, how do you vote?
Aye.
And Jean and Dan Doyle. Aye.
Aye.
And I'll throw in an aye. So this closes our regular meeting, and we.
Mr. Chairman,
Yeah,
you might know for the people listening that we will not be coming back to the regular meeting.
yes, I did mention that, but we'll.
Okay, I'm sorry, I apologize.
That's fine. We'll emphasize that right now. So we're going to sign off and rejoin shortly on a different link.